You ever think moving to the suburbs is going to be your ticket to peace and quiet? Maybe a little patch of green you can finally call your own, right? Well, let me tell you, the universe has a sense of humor, and in my case, it came wielding a clipboard. I wish I could say my suburban saga kicked off with some kind of grand drama. A car chase, a midnight brawl, heck, even a runaway dog would have made more sense, but nope. Just the cold, plastic fact of a clipboard smacking my mailbox like a starter's pistol for my own personal war. That's when you know the suburbs have you in their crosshairs. I remember pacing around my empty living room that first week, still echoing with drywall dust and hope, on the phone with my mom trying to convince her, and maybe myself, that this whole buying a house in Meadowbrook idea wasn't a straight shot to disaster. "It's great, Mom," I said, half lying, half hoping. "There's fresh air, actual trees, and no sirens, unless you count the ice cream truck." She just sighed, that old soft mom sigh that makes you feel about 12 years old. "But what if you need something, Alex? Like a decent cannoli? They don't even sell cannoli out there." I laughed and looked out the back window, watching two contractors in a half-finished deck wrestling match with a circular saw. "Mom, I'm a hydrogeologist, not Tony Soprano. My cannoli cravings are under control. Trust me." Yeah, I had no clue what was coming. Then I heard it, the tap-tap-tap of doom. Sounded like a woodpecker with an attitude, but I knew better. I looked out past my deck and my aggressively green new lawn, and there she stood, hair shellacked into a platinum blonde helmet, beige pantsuit creased, so sharp you'd think she ironed them with a samurai sword, clipboard raised like a weapon. She looked at me like I'd just driven a monster truck over her begonias. I tried to play it cool. "Can I help you?" She didn't even blink. "Are you the owner?" "Yeah, that's me," I said, offering my hand, which she flat out ignored. "Carol Benton, president of the Meadowbrook Homeowners Association." Just like that, I knew peace was about to get bulldozed. Her opening salvo was small, almost polite, if you like passive-aggressive warfare. She clocked my contractor's pickup, which was apparently parked 3.5 inches off the curb. "That's a violation of Bylaw 112B, she intoned, like she was reading off someone's last rites. Then her eyes flicked to the neat stack of cedar planks by my house. "Cedar twilight," she muttered, almost reverently, and I stupidly thought she was admiring my taste. Not even close. She cut me off with a look. "Cedar twilight is not on the approved palette," she announced, then started listing out the acceptable shades: gentle taupe, subtle gray, whispering sandstone, like a priest reciting the saints. I tried to defend myself. "But I have a city permit." She hit me with the air quotes, merely a suggestion. And just like that, I was holding 2 fines, one for parking, one for staying, and another one for good measure. $1.50 per day until I remedied my aesthetic crimes. Welcome to Meadowbrook, where order, harmony, and beige rule with an iron fist. A few days later, Carol upped the ante. I was on a Zoom call about water flow rates in Phoenix, as you do, when out the window, I spotted her kneeling next to the fire hydrant on the corner, hose in hand, water blasting down the storm drain like it was spring break for plumbing. At first, I thought maybe she was doing some kind of community gardening thing. Then it hit me. She was actually draining the hydrant. Thousands of gallons of pressurized water, just wasted because, get this, the hydrant clashes with the petunias. I sprinted outside, half-dressed, waving my arms like I was signaling an airplane. "But Carol? Cool as a cucumber. Community improvement project," she said, not a hair out of place. "This hydrant just doesn't fit the vision." I stood there with my mouth open, trying to decide if this was reality or some kind of reality TV. Turns out, it was criminal, not just crazy. So I called my old friend Leia, who works at the City Water Authority. "Tampering with hydrants," she said, "that's not just a fine, that's a felony, if it endangers people." She lowered her voice, getting all cloak and dagger. "Look, there's a master valve at the Meadowbrook entrance. Turn that sucker, and you'll repressurize the system. But you didn't hear it from me, okay?" I grinned like a villain in a heist movie. Now it was on. Of course, Carol wasn't done. Next day, another letter, this time accusing my contractors of sonic discord and aesthetic harassment. "That's HOA for stop making noise. You're upsetting the beige." Big Mike, my contractor, looked like he might snap a 2x4 with his bare hands. Skinny Pete muttered about getting blacklisted from the good neighborhoods. I just shook my head. She's crossed the line, guys. This isn't about paint anymore. This is about public safety. Tonight, we fix it. Mike just nodded, slow and deliberate. Dave from across the street raised his coffee like a toast, silent support from the resistance. That night, with the crickets cheering us on, we rolled out Operation Gushing Freedom. Pete, Mike, and I tiptoed to the master valve at the edge of Meadowbrook, flashlights low, hearts pounding like we were 12 and breaking curfew. Pete whispered about federal crimes. I reassured him, lying through my teeth, and as I bent down to open the valve, I spotted Carol in her window, watching, always watching. Moments later, headlights cut through the dark. Cops. Of course. I stood up, dusted off my hands, and walked right up to the officers. Thank God you're here, I said. The fire suppression system's been tampered with. Somebody could get hurt. The older cop glanced from me to Carol, his mustache twitching with suspicion. He gave us the nod. Go ahead, son. The valve squealed. Water thundered through the pipes, and for the first time in a week, the hydrants coughed back to life. Mike grinned. 6 psi, baby. We all exhaled, tension melting into the night air. Next morning, Meadowbrook's great beige hope, Carol, was holding a ribbon cutting for her new decorative rock, where the hydrant used to be. I swear, half the neighborhood was there, sipping lemonade, pretending the world was perfect. But when a landscaper turned the pipe, a geyser shot 50 feet into the sky, soaking Carol, toppling the cookie table, and sending folding chairs skittering like scared crabs. The neighborhood finally cracked. A wave of laughter, Dave yelling, "Guess harmony's overrated, huh, Carol?" And I finally let myself laugh, too. Not out of spite, not because I won, but just out of sheer relief. The city showed up, slapped Carol with so many fines it probably took a spreadsheet to keep track. She was removed as HOA president before the week was out. The hydrants gleamed, the grass got watered, barbecues came back to the cul-de-sac, and nobody said a word about the color of my cedar twilight deck. Carol? She moved away. Rumor has it she's still writing complaint letters, just to herself now. One quiet evening, beer in hand, sun glinting off the red hydrant like a medal, I realized something. Rules are supposed to protect people, not suffocate them. Sometimes, when reason fails and conversation goes nowhere, you just have to turn the valve and let the truth spill out for everyone to see. So what would you have done? Would you have surrendered and painted your world beige? Or would you have fought back and let a little water wash away the nonsense? Drop your story in the comments. Let's hear which one of our neighborhoods would survive a full-on HOA meltdown. Justice, common sense, or just a little anarchy? What's it going to be?